Raw. And unfortunately, we have to start on a rough one, and that is, what we saw during Monday Night Raw last night. And man, it's always hard talking about injuries, and that's why I don't see, and the fans don't see. We have our guesses of what happens in a certain situation, Bully, but because you're obviously somebody that's lived in the ring for so long, what happened to Zoey Stark last night. Looks like she was trying to do a missile drop kick off the top rope to Kairi Sane, and then she fell awkwardly and just saw her leg bend and her knee did not look good. She needed to be carried out of the ring and into the back. So we just hope that Zoey Stark is okay. And as I reminded the nation on social media last night, Bully, each and every time a wrestler steps into that squared circle, they're risking injury for our entertainment. So unfortunately, last night was an example of that.
I hope I'm wrong. But from the way that girl's knee bent and all of the weight that went down on it and the velocity at which it happened, the height that she came down from, I'd be shocked if that wasn't like some major tearing. But as I said, I hope I'm wrong. Unfortunate error. It happens, as the old saying goes in pro wrestling, it ain't ballet. And you have to take as calculated of a risk as possible. I'll be more than happy to explain to you what happened, what went wrong, if you ask me some specific questions. And I guess your very specific question is what went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, what did go wrong? I mean, this is something that we've seen before. We've seen Zoey Stark do this many times, the missile drop kick off the top rope. It was supposed to be landed on Kairi Sane. Is it a timing issue? What went wrong where it looks like she was trying to stop herself, and she obviously landed awkwardly on the mat.
She tried to stop herself because she knew she wasn't going to be able to stay in the laid out position to drop kick Kairi because Kairi was too far away. The timing was off. And when timing is off, it's normally off between the two. I can tell you that Kairi did not turn and feed back to the middle fast enough. And I can also tell you that Zoe did her springboard too quickly. I could sit here and say Zoe should have waited another second to make sure that Kairi was completely turned around as opposed to trying to meet her in the middle. What they did, what those two women tried to do, and just to give you an example so you can create a picture in your mind of kind of what it should have looked like. Shelton Benjamin springboard into Shawn Michaels super kick. That's the timing and the precision that needed.
Wow.
Does that help paint a picture for you
Yes.
of what, Okay. So and Shawn Michaels and Shelton Benjamin, we're talking about phenomenal top-tier athletes, amazing timing, ring awareness, guys that worked every single night, 300 nights a year. So it was off. And this goes back to the conversation of the human body always protecting itself, okay? It will instinctually protect itself. It's so weird, Dave. We're taught in this business to give our body away, give our body up, all right? When you came to my wrestling school, I told you just fall down on your back. Your body instinctually, your arms reach behind you to break the fall. Or you want to fall down onto your ass. You don't just want to land on your back. So what does the body do? It tries to break its own fall. So we have to teach our body to not instinctually protect ourselves. This way we can learn how to protect ourselves in the pro wrestling way, in which we disperse the fall over the majority of the body.
All right, so Bully, like what I'm guessing from what you're saying is that, and obviously in Zoe's career and every wrestler's career, you're going to have something where you miss and then you fall onto the mat. And I'm guessing here when she did that missile drop kick and she looked and she said, oh shit, like Kairi Sane is too far away or I left too quickly. In her brain, she's like, oh shit. So
she's not, Dave, she's not even thinking. The body's just doing it.
Just reacting.
It's split second reaction. It's like when a batter gets 100-mile-an-hour fastball thrown at his head. There is no think. That's how quickly the brain sends the signal to the body, and the body just instinctually gets out of the way. If you have time to think, it would be a lot worse.
Okay, because I would think, listen, if Zoe went for a drop kick and missed and just fell to the mat, then Kairi Sane would react and the match would just keep going. I'm sure that's happened many, many times. But I can understand what you're saying. Because it was an error, the body knows, all right, this is not the position the body is supposed to be in right now. So she went to put her leg down to stop the fall, and then her knee buckled under her body.
Well, she didn't. Her body did it for her. So if Zoe hits the springboard, she has height, she has speed, she has distance, and now the object that she's supposed to hit, Kairi Sane, is not there. So the body is not going to stay in a laid out drop kick position because that's not a comfortable position for the body to fall in. The body can't protect itself in that position. The body becomes like Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff and just going splat on the ground. So the body tries to protect itself. And what did her body do? It put a leg down to try to land on her feet. When you throw a cat off of something, no matter how you throw the cat, how does the cat try to land?
It tries to land on its feet.
Always tries to land on its feet. And that's what the body's doing. It's trying to land on its feet. That's what happened. You see the one leg come down, the trail leg, it plants. And you got to remember the ring, that canvas is very tight. There's not a lot of give to it when you hit it at a certain angle. It will bunch up. It's not like a slip and slide. It's actually like a stop. You come to a dead stop. How many times have we seen guys and girls do the baseball slide spot and they get that trail leg caught up underneath them and they get an injury? And that's kind of what happened with Zoe last night.
And Bully, it was it made it very, very tough for me to watch the remainder of the show because it was like a punch to the gut. Because right after it happened is that you hear her screams in pain. Like she was in severe pain, and you could hear her screaming after that injury. It was heartbreaking to watch that last night.
I, with the benefit of Netflix and being able to go back, 10 seconds at a clip, I went back because I wasn't sure if those screams were coming from Zoe because I had never heard screams like that before. And if I ever heard screams like that before in a ring, I don't remember hearing them. Those were definitive screams of pain. And those screams really, they resonated with me because that poor girl, to scream like that, pro wrestlers are warriors. Pro wrestlers can suck up a lot of pain. Now, modern day pro wrestlers did not go through the same type of vigorous training or having their bodies destroyed like we did back in the day. It's just a matter of fact, like when you do something 300 nights a year as opposed to 50 or 70 nights a year, your body becomes almost impervious. Like I tell people, they're like, how come you're not in so much pain? Don't you live in pain every day? Or people always ask me about pain, and I tell them, when you become a pro wrestler and you do this for a long period of time, your entire body becomes like a giant callus. And if you have a callus on your hand or on your foot, you can do anything you want to that callus. You don't even feel the pain. It's almost dead. And that's how our bodies, the majority of our bodies become like a giant callus. So we don't even react to the pain anymore. Does it hurt? Yeah, but we don't scream and shriek in pain. That's what Zoe did last night because that's how bad I believe that knee got torn last night.
It was heartbreaking. And as I always say, you guys go into that ring and every time, you're risking injury and for our entertainment. So it's as a fan, I appreciate what everybody does when they step into that ring. And that was a reality check last night. And, you talked about Shelton Benjamin and Shawn Michaels. It is a game of inches. 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right is something that is perfectly done or could cause an injury. And I think last night you saw that firsthand.
This is where I use the comparison of a pitcher who can throw 100 miles an hour. If you can throw 100-mile-an-hour fastball, that's great. But if you can't throw it for strikes, what good are you? Painting the corners of the of home plate. So if you can't throw hard and fast for strikes, don't do it. Back it down a notch, because in wrestling, it is inches. The Shelton and Shawn Michaels spot could have gone so wrong. There are so many things that can go wrong. The springboard in and of itself can go wrong. I've seen AJ Styles screw up the springboard. And we've seen AJ do the springboard so many times. Sometimes it just happens. Your foot could hit a slippery spot on the tape. The rope goes down at a weird angle. So something can go wrong from Jump Street before you even hit the springboard. Now, is the person on the other end going to be there? Are they in the right position? If Kairi Sane is one step closer to Zoey Stark, this does not happen.
And if Zoey Stark probably leaves the top turnbuckle a half a second later, then this doesn't happen.
Whenever you're trying a new move in wrestling, obviously you have to practice it. Just like when you learn a new song in a band, you practice it. Just like you practice on a soccer field, a free kick, or you practice field goal. You always practice first, okay? And what happens with a lot of wrestlers, and I'm not suggesting this is what happened with Kairi or with Zoe, but let me kind of give you the 30,000 feet here. You practice. Now you got talent practicing in soft rings. Now you have talent practicing on crash pads. Then they move it into the real ring. Then they try to do it at the PC or in a wrestling school. And I see talent practice stuff, and they're like, okay, good, I got it. And I'm the first one to say, no. You don't got it. Now you have to start thinking about the things that you're not thinking about when you're practicing. How deep into the match is this move happening? How blown up will you be? How blown up will your opponent be? Are you confident that 15, 20 minutes into the match, you're going to be of sound mind to be able to hit this? You have to think about the intangibles. Is that
yeah.
correct word?
No, because it's just like any other game. Like, that's why I hate when people judge games by numbers. That you can't measure, like you just said, how deep into the game is this happening, and how tired is the person you're going up against is. You're 100% right. Like, you have to consider that. They mentioned it last night on the show about the humidity in the arena last night. Maybe there's a bit of a slip when she jumped off that. I don't know. I'm just, you never know.
That tape is like shiny tape, right? Mm-hmm. The tape is under the hot lights. What's on tape? Glue. The glue can become slippery. There's so many things that can go wrong that people just do not realize or are not made knowledgeable to. So, but last night is like not one of those things where I would have said you should never have done this. This is not like the kid who did the big flip in TNA. Leon Slater. Thank you very much, Andre. Leon Slater. It is impossible to catch that flip, that dive. The brain will not allow the body to stand there and take the brunt of that. And I'll go this far, Dave. One of the things that I've prided myself and Devon on, and Rob Van Dam can tell you, and Jeff Hardy can tell you, and anybody who's ever flown through the air onto the Dudleys can tell you, if you dive, if you fly, Bubba and Devon will be there. You will not touch the ground. Remember in the movie Unnecessary Roughness with the big Samoan kid tells him, Mr. Blake, they will never touch you.
Yeah, Manu
the Slender. You will not touch the ground with me and Devon there. We became proficient in the art of catching. I don't even think me and Devon could have stayed there for Leon Slater. And we're the guys that used to catch New Jack out of balconies.
And can I just say this, Bully? Like, having seen something like that, now, obviously that was at a tremendous height. That was extremely high, what Leon Slater did. But, we've seen this dive off the top rope onto the floor almost on a daily basis now as wrestling fans. The risk isn't worth the reward at this point. Like, I don't think at this point, no matter what you do, I don't think there's anybody that's going to be like, holy shit, we're well past it. We've seen it too many times. So I think that's got to go through your brain. Is the risk worth the reward?
What reward was there for Leon Slater after this big? Is Leon Slater any more over because of it? Are people paying more money to see Leon Slater? Are we still talking about Dave? We still talk about Bubba and Mae Young, don't we?
Yes.
The risk was worth the reward. They've talked about it 30 years later. But that was a calculated risk in which bodily harm could be avoided because I knew what the fuck I was doing, and because the lady I was doing it to was an 80-year-old callous. Mae Young was more beat up and grizzled than I could ever be. Mae Young is the toughest man I've ever met in my life. I wasn't worried about Mae. And Mae was probably more worried about me. So that's calculated. What those guys did, and this conversation is not about Leon Slater and those 6 guys on the floor. It's about calculated risk. I would have, if I was there with Zoe and Kari last night and they said, hey, Bubba, this is what we want to do, I'd be like, okay, great, because I know that Zoe has done the springboard before.
Yeah.
Right? But I know that Kyrie hasn't been in the ring on a steady basis lately, right?
Last night was her return.
Rust. So if that's me as the agent or the producer, I'm telling Kyrie, make sure you're in a step. I'd rather have it look a little shorter than it be too long. And this is not Monday morning quarterback. I know how I see things before they happen in a wrestling ring, especially when it comes to safety. I would have been, because she was 3/4 of the way across the ring. 3/4 of the way is Shelton Benjamin, Shawn Michaels distance. It takes perfection. And last night, they were short of perfect, and we saw what could happen. Once again, blame, no such thing as blame, okay? Because it takes 2 to tango in the wrestling ring. Kyrie could have been in a step more. Zoe could have waited a half a second more. But in no way in hell would I have ever said, girls, don't do that, stay away from it. Leon Slater, yes, don't do it, stay away from it.